Hey guys, welcome to Writing 100. I'm Hannah Kaufman. I'm the instructor for this class. This semester, we're going to, of course, be spending a lot of time with writing. Writing is not everybody's favorite subject. In fact, a lot of folks haven't spent a lot of time writing or talking about writing in several years, probably since like second grade. We're required to write a lot in school, but many times feedback on our writing and sort of very intensive or tailored feedback doesn't come back from teachers after certain levels. They just say, you did great, or oh, this was okay, or you're fine or you're not fine, and we sort of move along. There's a lot of information that gets left behind over the years of education. So one big thing we will focus on primarily throughout the semester is sort of relearning some of those finer points of writing that will really make your writing a lot stronger and hopefully will help you understand a lot of the foundations of writing, which will help make what you want to communicate to whoever's reading what you're writing, known as your audience, a lot more clear and a lot more precise. Many folks maybe include a lot of extra words in their writing, or they have trouble organizing or kind of figuring out how to, put periods and commas and things like that in there. Sometimes people will tell you that they don't understand what you're writing, or you have a lot of sentence fragments. And we're like, that's great. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what you're talking about. So we're going to start looking at some foundations of really strong, clear writing. We're going to talk about what they are. We're going to practice them throughout the semester. In order to start with that, we really need to understand what it takes to make good, clear, strong writing. So a lot of times when we're writing because we've been told we need to write about something, or we're really maybe passionate or frustrated about something, and we've got something that we just want to say. The thing is that there's a big difference in written communication, especially between what we want to say and what the audience needs to know from the information we're writing. So take a second and think about how often we consider what people actually understand from what we're writing. Are we writing in order to explain information, concepts, ideas to the person who's reading? Or are we writing because we got to get something out? There's nothing wrong with either one of those. Writing to get something out is very useful, but it's an early step in the process of writing for an audience. So one of the first things I want you to remember is when you've got an assignment, right? I walk in and I'm like, hey, you guys, I want you to write this. You're like, okay, this person wants me to write something, so I'm going to toss some words on the page. I'm going to get it out. Okay. This class, though, works with that workplace communications class. And the goal of this class is to help you really craft just dynamite pieces for that other class. In that other class, the goal is not to write things that you just want to get out there, but you are writing for a professional audience. You're writing to communicate important information to that audience, stuff they need to know, whether they need to know it about you, about a situation, about something you want the company to buy, about a reason you want the company not to buy something, etc. So you are writing for those individuals to read the information. It's not for me, and it's not just because I assigned you to write something. You really want to have that imaginary audience of professionals who are going to be reading what you write. Okay, so the first thing we need to think about is that we have to consider that primary designation. There's something you want to say. There's something you really want to tell that audience, whether it's about you. Let's say we're talking about the letter of application, right? You want to tell them, I'm the right person for the job. You want to tell them, I'm timely. I am, I'm a great employee. I'm organized, and I'm going to be an asset for your company. But you need to take the time to consider, what does your audience need to know about you and about what you can do for them? Okay, they're going to need specific information. They're going to need to see that you are a competent, organized employee, as well as understanding what you can do. And the best way for you to demonstrate this is through your writing. If you can create an organized, clear, precise piece of writing, you don't have to tell them that you're organized, that you're careful, that you pay attention to detail. You're going to show them by putting together this clear, very specific piece of writing what they need to know about you, which is that you are focused, which is that, hopefully you've submitted this piece of information on time. So you've got good time management skills, you have good detail skills, you've got good organizational skills, etc. Okay, so if we spend most of our time thinking about what we want to tell our audience, right, the big idea that we want them to take away, then it's easy to throw some words into a message and be like, yeah, I'm the person you want, or hey, this thing happened and I'm frustrated about it. But the audience doesn't have all the information they need to understand the whole message. So one of the first things we need to understand about spoken communication and written communication is that, this is going to sound really weird, but words themselves don't actually communicate everything an audience needs to know. So there's this study that was conducted way back in 1967 by these folks, Merabian, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Ferris. And they found that in spoken communication, about 7% of what people understand comes from the words we use in conversation. Okay? About 38% of what people understand comes from the tone we use when we present that information. So if I say to you, have a nice day, hopefully you imagine I want you to have a nice day. If I say, have a nice day, then you probably realize I don't want you to have that nice of a day, right? Have a nice day. Okay, every single one of those has a different tone. The words themselves haven't changed, but the presentation of those words have changed. Therefore, the audience is going to get a different idea of what I mean from those words. In addition to that, you've probably already noticed I spend a lot of time making gestures. Okay, I'm a very physical talker. And so a lot of times when I'm speaking, you'll notice it in class. If we meet face to face, you'll notice it here. I spend lots of time trying to help demonstrate what I mean. I also like to give video feedback, depending on what the assignment is, to students so that they can hear my tone and they can see my face. And so if I'm saying, something was challenging or maybe it was done in a way that could be more effective, I want them to see that I still enjoyed their writing and I still got what they wanted me to get out of it. But if I smile when I deliver this information, or if I frown when I deliver this information, or I'm like, you got close to the mark, right? Any of these things that happen on my face or sometimes happen with my hands significantly influence how you understand what I'm doing or what I'm saying. Now, if I were to sit here and present this in a monotone voice, you first of all wouldn't understand what the very important words and pieces of information that I'm sharing with you are. I also wouldn't be very interesting to listen to. So how does this apply to written communication? Because we don't have verbal tone, right? We don't have body language in writing. We do. It just doesn't look like a lot of people think it looks like. In writing, we have something called syntax. This is the order of the words in a sentence. Okay, so I can put the most important information in a sentence up front, or I can carefully choose. I can put something very important over here, and then I can put information that sort of supports it or adds context next to it in order to show that this over here is most important. This is supporting information for the idea. Reader, I want you to focus over here. That particular approach to syntax is called primacy, and we'll be talking about that more as the semester progresses. Another version of body language, if you will, for our writing is punctuation. So punctuation, most of you probably know, are those visual signals that pace us and help emphasize information in a written work, that help direct the audience to certain information in a piece of writing. A period tells us to stop. A comma tells us to pause. A dash tells us to step aside for a second and come back. An exclamation point means we're excited. Quotation marks means somebody's talking. Parentheses could be for a citation like this, or for clarification, right? There are various things that our punctuation marks do. So punctuation and syntax are the body language of writing. Without these, or changing these, actually changes what the audience understands from a piece of writing. For instance, I've got a link for you, and also in the written document that accompanies this, you can go out and look at a love letter and a Dear John letter. It's called a breakup letter, or a breakup letter, which is called a Dear John letter. And you can take a look at those examples and notice what changes in that letter between the first version and the second version. You might be surprised at what you see. So having a strong understanding of syntax and how the order of a sentence affects the reader's understanding, and punctuation affects the reader's understanding, those are some of the first major things that are going to make significant changes in your writing if you practice them and make a significant effort to understand what they are and what they do. Now, folks do often get frustrated with writing. They're like, it's really difficult, and why does it matter? And what, I want to bring my own style to my piece of writing. I don't want to have to deal with all these rules and regulations and etc. I totally understand that, especially as a creative writer myself. So a big thing we're going to talk about early on especially is some formulas, some common writing structures you can rely on to craft more effective sentences without losing your personal voice. Lots of people think that following writing rules is going to strip the uniqueness from their writing. That's not true, but it does take practice. It does take investment. I have assignments and things that I really need you guys to work on outside of the classroom so that when we come back together, we can talk about them and we can look maybe at some sentences that you and other folks in the class have created, and we can look at how to adjust the syntax or how to tweak that punctuation in order to make your writing say exactly what you want it to say so that the audience understands what they need to know and you've made your point and your purpose really clear. Okay, so I need that investment from you outside of the classroom in those writing portfolios so that we together then can look at what you've crafted and say, okay, as an audience, right, we're going to pretend to be the people who are receiving this. As an audience, I understand what you're saying here. I need more clarity here. Can you give me an example of this? That kind of thing. Okay, so I will walk you through, and in many of these videos, we're going to look at some of these major formulas and structures. Yes, you can step outside of them, but right now our primary goal is to learn what these formulas are, how they work, and how to manage them. At any point, please let me know what questions you have, or if you're struggling with anything. I'd love to meet with you. And I'm looking forward to working with you and your writing this semester.